we not wait on the national election, that we do that at every election, be present and accounted for. Let me thank my executive producer, Fatim Muhammad, technical producer, Lee Majors. Let me remind you, every night, Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Central Time, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on MSNBC. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real, keep it real, keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of either WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
Get ready. Armstrong Williams is up next on WGCV 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Hi, I'm Lisa Edelstein. Every day on set, I help my fictional doctors save the lives of imaginary patients in the TV series House. Every day in his village in Ethiopia, Barasa Ware helps save the lives of real children as a local health worker. Like many children in the developing world, the ones in Barasa's village are threatened.
Good God! I got to ask you, what we need? Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need? Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. He's the best. Armstrong. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Army strong. Jordan Goodman. Army strong. Jordan Goodman. Where's JG? That's not like Jordan Goodman. Dr. Bernard. Man, am I traveling alone? Oh, I had the most wonderful weekend at the Preakness, at Pimlico Racetrack. You know, the Preakness is my weakness, but I had the most wonderful time. Oh, I had such a good time this past weekend. Oh, the week before that was just marvelous with my mother and my family for Mother's Day, and then to follow it up with the Preakness with, some of the most wonderful people were at the Preakness, and had a good time, won a few hands, and got a chance to see the beautiful horses. It rained, but it was still a beautiful day. Just a lot of, can you recall the last time you had a good time? Can you recall the last time you just had such a good time? It was so refreshing. Oh, you're just like, Jordan Goodman.
Hi, Armstrong. Nice to be with you.
I've been calling your name for 2 minutes, brother.
I've been here for 2 minutes waiting for you, hearing about the Preakness.
So let me tell you, Jordan, Jordan, let me ask you this. When is the last time you had just a good time? You just a good time.
Well, I had a good time this last weekend. I was in California, enjoying things there. And I'm about to, you always like to know what I'm up to. I'm flying out tonight to Istanbul, Turkey.
Oh, you know what? That's one of the places you're going to love. You're going to love Istanbul.
So I'm going to be there this week. You're the last person I'm going to talk to before I get in the plane, basically.
What's taking you to Istanbul?
They are doing an entire personal financial literacy initiative in the country. And this is a conference of about 1,000 people in Turkey to how to improve financial literacy throughout the country. There'll be government officials, banking people, educators, media. I'm actually going to be on a TV show. There's a woman there whose last name is Oz, O-Z, who calls herself the Susie Orman of Turkey. So I'm going to be on her TV show. And so it's a whole financial literacy event. And they're doing some amazing things of it. So they're trying to learn from what we're doing in the United States. So I'm going to talk to them about the financial literacy initiatives in the United States. And they're doing some pretty amazing things, Armstrong, actually. For example, they are buying 12 million iPads to give to every child, K through 12, in the entire country of Turkey this year. Every child's going to have one in K through 12. And they also have what are called whiteboards, which is like a electronic chalkboard where the teacher can do various things on there, and then they download the lesson electronically into the kids' iPads. They can bring it home and study it there. So they're making a major investment in financial education. That's K through 12. They're doing things at the college level, so on. So I'm going to be talking to them about that. So it should be quite interesting. It's a country that's doing extremely well, and they want to do even better. And having an educated populace is part of what makes one country economically strong. So that's why I'm going over to Istanbul, Turkey, literally tonight.
You know, Istanbul, from the prehistoric period to ancient Byzantium, it was a sort of a late Roman period, and sort of the Eastern Roman Empire. It was also known as the Ottoman Empire, the Republic of Turkey. It's just one of those places that I would.
Have you been there before?
Oh, Jordan. Where have I not?
You have a villa there.
Where have I not been in? No, I don't have a villa there.
I could stay in your villa.
You know, if I had one, you would definitely stay there. It's just, such an honor that they've selected you to be a part of that team. I'm just so disappointed that you didn't include your brother.
It came up very quickly, believe me. In the last 2 days, this thing happened. But we're making it happen, and I'm flying directly to Istanbul. So it really will be quite interesting, because in preparing for this, I've been kind of studying what's happening around the world in the whole financial literacy field. And there's some very good things happening and some very bad things happening. But on the good side, just to give you, for example, 2 countries, the United Kingdom and Australia, now literally require financial education as part of being able to graduate from high school. You have to pass a course in financial literacy, which is the first time that's happened in a long time. In the United States, there's about 7 states that have some kind of mandatory financial education. Most states have very, very little or nothing. So, you know, in some places they're doing quite well. In other places, there's no financial literacy whatsoever, and those are the countries that are falling further and further behind. There's a real dichotomy in the world between the winners and losers, and financial literacy is part of it. I mean, if you're not literate about financial topics, this is where people get into debt and they haven't saved enough, and they're relying on the government and so on. And when you are financially literate, you can be self-sufficient and save and invest and get out of debt and do all the right kinds of things. There's a huge difference in your lifestyle, both as an individual and as a country, where you are financially literate versus not being financially literate.
You know, do you think most people know that they're financially illiterate?
I think they have a pretty good sense of whether they are financially literate or not, yeah. There are surveys done all around the United States where many people feel they are not prepared for retirement, They don't know how to read contracts. They don't know how to get into the right mortgage. They're paying too high interest on their credit cards. They're keeping their money in the bank, earning zero. They're watching the stock market shoot up and not participating in it. They know that there's a great game going on, and they're not part of it. They're not playing the game. I think a lot of people kind of have the sense it's out there, but don't really know how to kind of get started in it. And this is what I've been devoted to for 35 years, to helping people understand all these things, because if you learn how to play the game, it can be a lot of fun, and you can really do very well for yourself.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, the economy, people are able to finance and buy homes. It's not because they're making money. The median income for families have begun to arise again. It's because money is cheap, and the interest rates are not real. What are the signs for you to make you think that would give you confidence that the economy is truly coming back?
Well, the housing market certainly is coming back, but not for everybody. I heard today the average credit score for somebody buying a home today is 750. Now, that's like at the top 5% of the population. Very, very few people can be at 750 or higher. So that means the vast majority of Americans are either not able to get a mortgage at all, or pay higher interest rates, or really have a very, very hard time doing so. This is the fallout of what happened in 2006, 2007, when everybody could get a mortgage and a lot of people got into trouble. That was much too loose. Now I think we're much too strict. And so it's very difficult for the average American to do it. So the housing market's doing very well, but in many cases it's not because of individuals buying homes themselves. It's hedge funds, it's pension funds buying up homes literally by the thousands. I was out in California over this last weekend, and I was talking to a real estate broker there. He said people are coming in, all cash, and buying homes on the spot representing hedge funds. And they said, we need to buy 1,000 homes this weekend, that kind of thing. Well, how can the average individual compete with that? They've got all cash, and then they're going to fix up the house and rent it out, and it makes a nice addition to their portfolio. The average individual that has to go through the whole mortgage process and get a 20% down payment, it's very, very difficult for them to compete with a hedge fund that has literally hundreds of billions of dollars in cash buying up entire swaths of neighborhoods these days. So it's a completely different market than even a year or so ago. That didn't exist.
What about the printing of the money? Isn't there enough? Isn't enough is enough?
Well, the Federal Reserve doesn't think so. They're adding about $85 billion in net new cash to the economy per month, buying mortgage-backed securities and Treasury securities to push down interest rates. That's why interest rates are so incredibly low. I mean, you've got about 3.5% on 30-year fixed-rate mortgages, 2.9% on 15-year fixed-rate mortgages. I mean, it's incredibly low when the economy, by all signs, is doing much, much better. So if you're in a circumstance where you have a decent credit score and your current mortgage is, I would say, 4% or higher, it's going to make sense for you to refinance those rates I just mentioned. A website that can help you do that is youcanrefi.com, youcanrefi.com, and get these low rates while they last, because I don't think they're going to last forever. The Fed's not going to keep pushing $85 billion a month into the market forever, but they probably will do it for the rest of this year, so this is still a good opportunity to take advantage of those rates.
But the interest rates are creeping up now. They're not what they were a month ago if you were locked in.
A little bit, up a little bit. But that's because the economy is getting better. I mean, you see the unemployment numbers were good. The stock market's been soaring. As I said, house prices have been rising because of all these pension funds and hedge funds buying homes. In general, things are getting better in the United States. And that's why interest rates, when the economy gets better, there's more demand for money, and that's why interest rates start rising here.
Hold that point. Jordan Goodman, Mr. Financial, on his way to Istanbul this evening. We'll be back.
Armstrong Williams return to the moment.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make $100 million or $10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show. Jordan Goodman, why is it that successful people, in order to be successful, must surround themselves with successful people who are ambitious and like-minded?
It lifts you up. If people around are negative and downbeat and not successful, it drags you down. They always say that your life is a reflection of the 5 people that are closest to you, either positively or negatively. So if you have 5 positive, entrepreneurial, successful people, that's going to rub off on you, and you're going to rub off on them. And vice versa. So that's just the way it works.
So talk about your network becomes your net worth eventually.
Well, very much so. I mean, your network of people, you give them ideas, they give you ideas, you do business deals together, you learn from each other, and good things happen. I mean, just here I'm going off to Istanbul. I had no idea this was happening, but I'm part of a network, and they suggested I go and do it. So I'm going off to Istanbul, helping people in the whole Turkish economy. I mean, I would have never predicted this kind of thing would happen, but I'm part of a network that made it happen. So this is an example from today.
And how do you maximize these relationships? Some people just don't know how to work them and make them work, not only for them, but everybody involved.
Yeah, you have to give. If you're just trying to take, people don't like to deal with you. You keep giving and giving without expecting something in return, and you get much more in return. That's the way it works. And a lot of people don't learn. They just want to take, get something for themselves, and people don't like to deal with takers. They like to deal with givers. And so the more you give, the more you end up getting. But it's a mindset that you have to be a real giver.
You know, in this economy, it is obvious that the dollar is getting stronger. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the economy is getting better, and particularly compared to what's going on around the world, the euro has been falling because tremendous troubles. They're really in recessions almost all in Europe right now. We're growing. The housing market, the energy markets, the stock markets are doing better here. Japanese are trying to push their currency down, and the yen has been falling because they want to help their exporters. That's why they've been printing so much money in Japan. So compared to the rest of the world, we're looking pretty good right now, Armstrong.
Is it through fiscal policies that we have in place, or is it just the luck of the draw because everybody else is doing so bad?
That's part of it. I mean, our fiscal policies have gotten better. You know, it wasn't an easy process, but our deficits are falling pretty sharply right now. I mean, last year it was about $1.1 trillion. This year it may be something like $700 billion, something like that. I mean, it's still big numbers, but it's definitely falling. It's falling because the sequester is hitting now, so starting to cut government spending. The tax increases on the higher income people went into effect at the beginning of the year, is going to bring in more revenues. And the biggest reason is the economy is stronger. When you have the economy be stronger, more housing sales, stock market gains, industrial profits going up, that is what brings the biggest amount of revenue into the government. And there was a specific thing that just happened recently, which is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which have been taking money out of the government, just gave back about $60 billion to the government because the housing market's gotten better. So our fiscal house is not completely in order, but it's certainly getting a lot better than it was, say, a year or so ago.
Well, you know what? I find that to be quite fascinating because the United States has a unique opportunity to really turn things around, Jordan.
And we are turning things around. Just look at our energy sector, okay? We were a huge net importer of oil and gas for a long time because of what we found in the shale oil and the shale gas in North Dakota and Texas and Pennsylvania and Ohio and all kinds of places. We may become energy independent in this country within about 2 years. And that is an enormous turnaround. Think of all the money that we're exporting when we're buying oil and giving money to Nigeria and Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. If we become a net energy exporter, think of the amount of dollars that will stay in this country instead of going overseas. So that's one example of the huge turn that's happening here. Technology is happening the same thing as well. You're seeing the rise of the social networks of Facebook and Google. Today, Yahoo bought Tumblr for $1.1 billion. The guy who ran Tumblr is 26-year-old, dropped out of high school, and he just made himself $1 billion. So, technology moves ahead at a very fast pace, and we're the leaders in that. So there's a lot of very positive things going on in this country right now.
Yeah, things are going on in this country right now, and some people are just getting wiped out with it. Let me raise this in terms of how would you overhaul our tax system, make it applicable and fair to everyone?
Well, it's loaded with special interest perks and breaks that just help one industry or even one person. It's completely unfair. It's unfathomable. It's just so thick. In theory, we should have some kind of a flat tax or a very simplified tax you could fill out in your postcard and just get it back in and not play favors. That would be enormously beneficial for the economy. But the reality is, Armstrong, it's not going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. There are too many invested interests in every little part of the tax code. There's a reason why everything's in there, and they'll fight to the death for their one little piece of it, whatever it may be, whether it's sugar subsidies or the mortgage instant deduction or charitable deductions or research and development credits or you name it. There's all these different things. Everybody has wonderful reasons why their credit or deduction shouldn't be changed, and everybody else's should be. So the reality is, and Congress, it's so gridlocked today, they can't even get people appointed or confirm appointments, never mind doing major things like redoing the tax code. So it would be nice. It's not about to happen.
Well, the good news is it does not stop the entrepreneurial spirit, the entrepreneurial from delving in. Talk about that.
Well, we have entrepreneurs all the time in many different areas. Sometimes forced entrepreneurs. People have been pushed out of companies and have to form their own businesses in many cases. But they can do well in this economy, and in many cases online. Look at the guy who just founded Tumblr. I think it was about 6 years ago he founded it out of nothing, dropped out of high school, and today he's selling it for $1.1 billion. This is kind of online blogs. The same thing happened with Instagram, which was sold for about $1 billion a year ago to Facebook, and a whole bunch of other companies that have really good technologies that really help consumers. and they monetize it by selling it to big guys who do even better with it. So that there's the entrepreneurial spirit in action right now.
Well, I think most people have the entrepreneurial spirit. I think they're afraid. How do you help them conquer fear?
Well, fear is based on lack of knowledge, and you've had to learn how to do it. You just don't go from being an employee to being an entrepreneur overnight. It's a whole different mindset. You have to understand business plans, financing. There's a lot of things you can do to become an entrepreneur, but it's a process. It's not something you kind of do quickly. A lot of people jump into it really. They're probably enamored with the content of what the business may be, but they don't really know how to run the business part of it as well. I'll give you a website that can actually help people if they want to become entrepreneurs. It's called businessanswerstoday.com. And what they do is they help you set up a business and learn how to become an entrepreneur. The guy who runs it, a guy named Scott Letourneau, I know him very well, he said he wanted to kind of create the McDonald's of entrepreneurs. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you can't go down to your local mall and learn how to do it. So he's kind of created entrepreneurship in a box, I guess you might say, with all of what you need. What structure you should set up. Should you be an LLC? Should you be a subchapter S, a C corporation? All those different possibilities, and then how to get financing and marketing. There's a lot to it. But if you can do it successfully, it can be very, very beneficial for people.
Yeah, that's true. You've got to learn how to sell, and you got to believe in the product more than the person you're selling it to.
Right, or the service. You got to provide value, something that's not already out there. But it is amazing. I mean, I'll just take today's example. Tumblr. Here's a guy, at the time he would have been 20 years old, who had a good idea that people wanted to get their opinions out over blogs. And I think he's got 240 million blogs on Tumblr like that, something like some incredible number. And he just get it. People love to share these ideas with him, and he just sold it for $1.1 billion to Yahoo, and Yahoo's now going to make it even bigger, incorporating into the Yahoo platform. So that's something that just happened in the last few years, and just shows how successful it can be.
Our guest is Jordan Goodman. Jordan is a financial expert. Tell our audience more about you, Jordan.
Sure. My website is moneyanswers.com. I answer emails and help people with all kinds of areas of personal finance. I've done 13 books on different aspects of personal finance. My latest one's called Master Your Debt. I've done one called Fast Profits in Hard Times. I wrote the Dictionary of Financial Terms. So I've been out there a long time helping people. I worked at Money Magazine for 18 years, NBC News for 9 years, and I'm a regular guest on Armstrong Williams Show. That's the top of the heap right there.
Well, I'll tell you this. What do you think has been the biggest surprises and for you in your years of business ownership?
Staying up with the times. I mean, things changing so dramatically. You just can't keep doing the same. I used to do audio tapes and videotapes. That's not working today. Today it's all online. Having to retool my website. Now everything's going video. That's the new thing. You got to kind of stay up with the times and not just be stuck in doing things the old way. I mean, I've done, as I said, 13 books. Books is not where the action is today. Today the action is in e-books and everything delivered electronically. And so I think that's the main thing, is you got to stay up with the times and go with what's working as opposed to what might have worked in the past.
Well, you know what? I will tell you, I know we're going to talk to Gary Bernard. He always comes up with some fascinating issues. Is there some aspect of the economy in this marketplace that we've not discussed, Jordan?
Well, I mean, certainly relating to him is the whole, psychological impact of these things. These big changes are hard for people to deal with in many cases, and they've got to learn how to do that. I just want to mention one specific thing that's about to come up that's very timely. A lot of people in your audience might not know about. The FHA is about to change its rules on mortgages.
We're going to come back. We're going to come back to the FHA because that is important. Jordan Goodman, Gary Bernard, when we return, don't go away.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
If your walls could talk,
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, Stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take this time to breathe deeply and close your eyes. Right now, you're completely in control. Unlike the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk, or when you tried removing those raccoons from the basement. Concentrate on the soothing sound of my voice. Release the memory of when you wrestled with that beehive in your son's treehouse. Let go of the time you thought that skunk was a cat, or when you pulled into the garage with your son's bike on top of the car. Deep breaths, deep breaths.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American.
Yes, hi, I'm still here.
Oh, what happened?
I've been here the whole time. I don't know what happened.
Dr. Bernard, how are you?
I'm doing well, Armstrong. How are you doing?
Before we get to you, you were going to tell us about what was about to happen with the mortgages, Dr.
Right.
Jordan.
The FHA. I just want to mention that briefly. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the FHA, coming June 3rd, is going to start charging mortgage insurance for the life of the mortgage, for any mortgage made after June 3rd. In the past, when you got a mortgage, the FHA, either a regular one or a refinancing of an existing mortgage, after you got up to 22% equity in your home, you could drop the mortgage insurance. But they're going to make up for losses from the past by charging people literally for the life of the loan. It could be 15 or 30 years, and a lot of people have no idea that's about to hit them, and it's going to cost them hundreds of dollars a month, and maybe some people won't be able to qualify for it. So it's a big change that's coming. So if you're in that situation, you've either got an existing FHA loan, you want to refinance it, or going to a new FHA loan, move now before June 3rd to get into the old one, which will be grandfathered in. A website that can help you do that is youcanrefi.com, youcanrefi.com.
Thank you. Dr. Bernard, let's talk about the powertheparent.com with our very special Monday commentator before he leaves to go to Istanbul, Jordan Goodman. So talk about www.thepowerparent.com.
Well, that's a blog site where I do a weekly blog at least, and then offer other kinds of things here locally, especially when I'm speaking or doing things like that. And it's a way that people can contact me through the email there. So I use it primarily as an educational tool. It also was to help me with my book that I've published, Becoming.
Speak up. You were losing you. Your voice is fading off.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me all right now?
Yes.
Okay. So mainly it is a way to have a presence and to do what I enjoy doing every day at work, but reach a larger group of people. And really, in some ways, when I was listening to Jordan earlier, I wasn't on the line, but I was live streaming, and I was hearing him and about literacy with financial issues. I have the same passion with families and learning how to be a great parent. We don't have to be perfect parents, but we do have to try to be good if we want good outcomes. And so I'm putting more emphasis now on speaking, writing, reaching out with this blog site, trying to get discussions going, trying to get people, in essence, kind of give a wake-up call. All of these things that we talk about from week to week, especially these travesties and where people are doing just heinous things, the increase in violent crimes and all this sort of thing, they're directly related to the kind of stress we're under and how we're being pulled in so many different directions and how the family is pretty much falling apart in some areas within our country and world. And it's just, I think, time for a wake-up call. I don't want to be an alarmist, but, the facts are there. I would rather spend time talking about how can we re-engage folks in really wanting to do the best job possible as a parent, and not just having that intent, the intention to do better, but how do we learn how to do better? And what are some basic guiding principles that can help us? And I think if we go back to original kinds of natural laws and principles that govern all life forms, it's pretty much a template for how we can live balanced, healthy, efficient, joyous lives and help our kids not be statistics that we hear about every day.
Jordan?
Well, I agree. It's a matter of learning the right habits. I talk about financial habits. Dr. Bernard talks about family habits. It makes a huge difference if you do it right as opposed to doing it wrong. And a lot of people are doing it wrong all the time.
But you can't have family habits unless you have the right habits starting off. A lot of these kids get the wrong habits.
Right, they do. And the schools aren't really teaching them the right things. And schools can only do so much. But a lot of the families are broken up, and it's really hard to overcome that when you have that kind of a background.
So how do you overcome it?
We talked before about entrepreneurs doing well. You've got to have some family support to make that happen. Think of the support that a Bill Gates had from his family, or Mark Zuckerberg or something. These people are extremely successful today, but they have very, very supportive family structures. You're not seeing those kind of people coming out of broken homes.
No, it would be very rare to see that. In fact, incredibly rare. almost always you'll find that people were supported in some very important, powerful ways who've become quite successful in a number of areas of life, being creative and so forth.
So how do you help those lost souls?
The ones that have not had that support?
Many of them, yes.
Yeah. Well, isn't that interesting? It's the same way we try to handle things as they happen and unfold in our life. We react to it. We're in crisis mode, and we react to the fact that they didn't have support, and now under stress or under these circumstances, they're not well equipped, and so predictably they don't handle it well, and so we have to pick up the pieces and try to help people get back on their feet. It is a necessary thing for us people and our society, but it just seems to be more and more out of balance. It has always been with us, it always will be, but it becomes more the rule now that we're reacting and picking up pieces and dealing with crises all over the place. It's like putting fires out instead of having fire prevention. It's just a time, I think, to be a bit more reflective and say, it's time to dig in and come up with some skill sets that serve us well, and to start teaching early on. And I think while we don't have total control over schools and they can only do so much, our churches, our faith-based organizations, our schools, we could be doing a better job, but it's going to take a lot of dialogue, a lot of engaging. There's a lot of red tape, all these things that make it very cumbersome. Most of us finally get tired of that, and it beats us down. But we've got to have a renewal of our efforts here and to be focused in an efficient, economical way to try to regain the foothold in balance in life. And it's a huge challenge, but we do it one at a time, one person at a time, one family at a time.
But you have so many people who are taught the right values, but they rebel against these fake and short-term values. And so you're working with that also. That's working against the tide, Jordan.
Well, it is. Yeah, the long-term investing in people pays off. But as you say, if people are going for the short-term quick fix, it doesn't work out so well in many cases. We have a long-term problem we're trying to solve with short-term solutions. It doesn't work too well.
Mm-hmm. And we're seeing more and more of that. I am, and most folks that are providers of care, health care, mental health care, whatever, are seeing more and more of this strong need and this gravitating toward quick fixes, short-term fixes, whether it's going straight to medicines. I'm so thankful to have people putting research into that and learning more about biological mechanisms that can help us. But there's just such a huge draw to that. We live in this
is somebody else on the line?
Society.
Yes.
Yes, who is this?
Strong.
Yeah.
This is Zeke.
Who?
Zeke.
Yes, Zeke. I'm sorry.
How you doing?
Fine.
I just want to interact on what you guys are talking about.
Let me go to break and come back. Boy, you just popped up, Zeke. Good hearing from you. Dr. Bernard Jordan, good. Hold there. We're coming back. Don't go away.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sports shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the show. Zeke, go ahead with Dr. Bernard and Jordan Goodman.
Hey, how you guys doing today? I'm enjoying the conversation, and I just wanted to come in on what he was saying about go back to the basics. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's just so many things that's happening. Number one, when they take prayer out of school, I think that's the worst thing that could have happened to us. Number two, I live in a seclusive neighborhood, a couple acres of land, nice house, and I had a neighbor lived there for years, 20 years now. I built my house, and I had a guy that came in right down the street from me, and he built a $500,000 home on 5 acres of land. And this doesn't have anything to do with it, but you would think the guy is Afro-American just like me, and they won't even speak to you. It's just pathetic. It's crazy, and it took me back to my childhood. Sometimes I think that when we were in poverty, we didn't really know that we was in poverty because we loved each other and we took care of each other. My mom used to make a dish or something, and if somebody's sick down the street, she would give it to me and tell me to take it to them. We really loved each other back in those days, and sometimes I wish we were back in those days, because when you're in poverty and when you need each other, that brings love. It's just like Hugo. When Hugo came from Columbia, South Carolina, everybody pulled together, and we worked and we helped each other, but then as soon as everything go back to normal, we forget about it. So, I understand what he's saying, and I agree with him 100%. And I see it in my eyes, and it hurts so bad when you reach out to people and they just don't care. I don't know. It's just the money, I guess. It's the money and the success. It just robs people from love and having compassion for each other. That's all I had to say. I just want to thank you guys.
Thank you. How do you respond to him, Dr. Bernard? That's a very interesting how people will not even speak. I don't even understand.
Zeke, I really appreciate your comments, and I really resonate with everything you said. There is a real strong pull to be nostalgic about those times. See, I don't think that they are mutually exclusive, but like he says, it's harder when you have a lot of stuff. It's harder to stay focused on these other things for some people. Well, it's harder maybe for all of us. It's when we have an absence of things, or when we're really in need, even in prayer. He mentioned prayer. We're really communicating strongly with God or our higher being at that time. When we're doing well, our tendency is to kind of fade away. These are natural tendencies. What I think is important, though, Zeke, is we can recognize it. As people, we have these things called metacognitions. We can think about our thoughts. We can think about our experiences. And that's, of course, a major difference between us and animals. So I think this is where we come into play. We have to tap into that, teach people to start being mindful of these things. And if it works to recover from a hurricane, Hugo, if it works in crises, it works all the time. And if we're teaching our kids that this kind of connection, this kind of reaching out and being responsive to other people, responsible for ourselves, but responsible to other people, if we're teaching that and they see the benefit in it, it's more likely that they're going to live that kind of life. It's the habit that Jordan was talking about. And so when I'm saying let's have a reawakening, it's not let's go backwards. Let's claim these things that we've always known to be true. These are principles that have been true from the beginning of time. And
Jordan,
we easily let go of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when you become successful particularly quickly, say an athlete that gets a ton of money, they very quickly leave behind, usually, often, leave behind the people that kind of got them there, and then they kind of bring themselves in a gated community and don't really care about other people. I would say there's an expression, when you do well, you like to kiss up and spit down, which is what these people do. And, it's kind of a natural thing, but the people who do better in the long run don't burn bridges, don't step on the people who help them get up, and they go back and support them. And there are certainly plenty of athletes that do that, and they give back to the community. They create foundations and help with kids and so on. But it's very tempting to kind of just go with your money and hide out from the world and not have to care about anybody else. It's self-defeating in the long run.
Yeah. And we don't even have to be well off or rich to do that. I think Zeke pointed out that even in poverty, you make some food, and if someone's in need, you learn to share. And it's a wonderful set of principles that if we're reaching out and being responsive to other people in a kind, generous way, then typically we get that in return. And those are just basic principles.
People want values, don't they? They really want it. They know it works. But if you are a generation, have no idea what those values that Zeke and others are talking about, you feel like we're outdated and we need to become relevant with the world we live in today, Dr. Bernard.
That's true. These principles, these natural principles, they're long-standing. They've always been, they always will be. What we tend to value, see, we have the power to place value on things. We attribute meaning and value to things. And when we're not taught to do that early on, we place value on whatever feels good, whatever works for us, and before you know it, we have a set of values that may be working for us in terms of our idea of success, but it's not sustainable in human relationship. That's the difference. It's okay for you maybe, but it won't work to live amongst others and have a sense of mutuality if we're tending to values that only serve us well.
And there's a new dimension of this today, which is social media. People relate more online and with quick 140-character messages than having kind of long-term relationships. And, it's kind of come and go very, very quickly. It's all kind of everything's in hyperspeed. And relationships are that way, too. There's online dating, and, you have people play video games with 7 people at once all over the world, and it's like a virtual reality. But the old-fashioned one-on-one relationship that Dr. Bernard's talking about is becoming a thing of the past, particularly with young people. The hookup culture, everything we're talking about is very, very fast and quick, and that doesn't. All of what he's talking about has a certain nostalgia to it for what's going on in the real world today.
Right. And there's a physiological, a biological set of realities or principles that are at work too. Our brain is very plastic. Neuroplasticity is that our brain can be injured and it can sort of repair synapses and recover, and so it's more pliable and plastic than we've ever given it credit for. And I think one of the things we're seeing is in this new society is there's such immediate and powerful stimulation to the brain that it literally recreates. Think about a fast-growing bush or tree. It needs to be pruned off or it starts going wild, and it'll finally die of its own volition because it hasn't been pruned and taken care of. And those are habits and basic principles. And in some ways, that's what we're seeing right now neurologically, as a society that is bombarded and stimulated nonstop. So all these other things that we're talking about now are pretty boring for most kids. Difficult to teach these concepts to someone that's being bombarded with the stimulation nonstop.
If we don't get back to this, we're doomed, guys.
Well, some people are doing it, but the direction is not this way. The direction, particularly among younger people, is for kind of, as Dr. Bernard puts it, kind of overstimulation, quick in and out, the video game way of looking at the world. It's just all this flash and in and out, and it's all very quick, and people get killed, and it all becomes very, quick and over, as opposed to having, and fast, as opposed to long, slow building of relationships. It's a very different way of looking at the world.
You're right. Immediate gratification rather than some delayed gratification, which we know we have to have in order to achieve, to accomplish. And so these things are, they just can't coexist at the same time. They are mutually exclusive. You can't be constantly stimulus-seeking and be reflective at the same time. And it puts us in a real bind. And I think parents, educators, all of us need to be aware of that and start to dialogue, have a discussion, have public policies, all the things that we can be doing to put the brakes on and try to come up with new ways of helping kids fit in with social media. I mean, they're going to do it. We just have to find more balancing mechanisms.
You see the results of all this. I mean, you see it in people getting into debt because they're instant gratification, wanting to buy things right away. You see it in the divorce rate of 50%. Well, I'm going to give up on that person, find another one quickly. You see it in the in and out stock trading. I mean, it's just everything is very, very quick today. And usually the quicker it is, the unhappier people are about it.
Mm-hmm.
How is the stock market, Jordan?
Stock market's doing great. It's been soaring. All the Federal Reserve money has been pouring in. People making a lot of money in the stock market. It almost feels like the good old days of irrational exuberance, as Greenspan used to call it.
It won't last. It'll last until the end of the year, though.
I think we got a long way to go. I really do. A lot of money still on the sidelines. Something like $17 trillion still on the sidelines.
Well, Jordan, safe travels to Istanbul.
Have a great trip, Jordan.
Take care, everybody.
For more information on the